Tait! It's my absolute pleasure to welcome to stage first. She is an actress whose body of work includes Castlevania, The Mentalist, SEAL Team, and Supernatural. Today she joins us to discuss the role of the ultra-orthodox armorer. Please welcome back Jacksonville's own Emily Swallow!
Hello, everybody.
Woo! Next, he is an actor, stuntman, and former competitive fighter whose credits include Breaking Bad, The Contractor, John Wick, and the highly undervalued film War on Everyone. Today, he joins us to discuss the roles of the ill-fated Alpha Trawler as well as the physical form of the stalwart Paz Vizsla. Please welcome Tait Fletcher! He's big, isn't he? And Miley, she is an actress whose body of work cascades across several fandoms, including Battlestar Galactica, Another Life, Robot Chicken, and Longmire. Today she joins us to discuss the animated and live-action role of Bo-Katan Kryze. Please welcome Katee Sackhoff!
To extend a special welcome to my mom.
First of all, how was the story time at the library yesterday?
It was great. It was very fun. Katee doesn't have much of a voice.
It came back a little bit today, so this is the best it's been in a real long time, but I'm scared to use it too much. But it came back for the kids yesterday. Quite well, actually.
And then we acted things out.
We did.
There were lots of ninja poses and, like you. That library, has anyone in here been to the children's section of the downtown library?
Yes!
It's amazing. You walk in and the doorway has this greenery, and then you hear like birds and you hear crickets and stuff, and it's the coolest little place.
It's so cool. I forgot libraries existed until I had a child. I think I tried so hard to never go in another library when I graduated from high school that I literally forgot about that. And then I had a kid that was buying all these books, and someone was like, why are you buying books? Like, they read them 4 times for the most part, unless they have a favorite. Go to the library, and I was like, they have kids' books at the library? Yeah, they're like in games, and like, games? They have games? They do.
It used to be all hidden with the Dewey Decimal System.
Right. I could never figure out the car catalog ever. I was so glad this switched over to a computer format.
Yeah, I just give him a smile. So can you call me?
Absolutely. Well, friends, welcome back to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's own Emily Swallow, and welcome to Jacksonville. We're good friends. What I'd love to do is just go a little bit in the background on this amazing series and how it evolved for each of you, and then I'll jump in the audience and take some of the questions. So if we talk about where it began chronologically, Katee, I think we technically start with you with Clone Wars, the animated series.
Yeah.
Yes, no questions, almost straight.
Yeah. It was, when I moved to California in '98, time ago, I said to my team at the time, I will do anything in Star Wars. I don't care if it's to be a rock. I will be in Star Wars. Like, this is, one of my dreams. And it just, of course, never happened. And then when Dave Filoni called to offer me Bo-Katan, I was in the middle of Battlestar Galactica. And I just they were like, yeah, there's a character in this animated Star Wars show. And I just went, I'll do it. I didn't want to know anything about it. And I was like, no, I'll do it. So that's that's what actually came about. And she was really only supposed to be in one episode, and I think I heard that she wasn't even supposed to be Satine's sister. That sort of like, came later in Dave's mind after he saw her.
So, between her and Bitch Pudding, you have a lot of breakout animated roles.
Yeah,
As a character from Robot Chicken, it's like, we have young, I was way too preachy.
There's a lot of children in the audience, so I won't say her dialogue.
We appreciate that. Tait, how did this start for you? I mean, what came first? The angry guy at the bar, or the casting the suit, or was it multiple? Or?
Yeah, no, I went into casting. I had an audition, and I read for Alpha Trawler, which I didn't know was Alpha Trawler, and I didn't know was Lucasfilms. And then the next day they called. They said, "Oh, you got the part." And I said, "Fantastic." And then the next day I got a call, and they said, "Favreau saw your audition," and then it got really puzzling for me. And he wants to play this other guy, and so I thought that I'd lost. And either way, much like Katee said, great. I'm just glad to be at the party. And then it just evolved. We started building the suit over the next couple of months, and did a lot of fittings with the fabricators, which were a fantastic team to work with. And somebody asked me yesterday what my favorite scene was in the Mandalorian. And that opening scene in the bar, for me, it was daunting. I was in the volume for the first time, this arena that we shoot within, which is kind of replace green screens, and sort of be as if this room were all video screens all around us and we were inside the video game, is kind of what it's like. And that was amazing to see, and then to see Filoni and work with linguists from Lucasfilms and have Favreau direct and all of that. It was just a really inspiring, humbling place where I was honored to be. And then I got to see the beautiful armorer walk in when I came out as Paz, and that was probably my favorite scene, because then it really struck me about how cool this was going to look. Visually, like what it all was that was put together in this storyline was incredible.
Nice, very nice. Emily, how'd this come about for you?
I love it when people ask me, how did you decide to do Star Wars? And here's how it happened. I had probably had about 100 auditions that year, and I had booked, I had done 2 plays, so I had booked 2 of them. And so I went into this audition that was very vague. My agent said, we think it's something to do with Star Wars, but we're not sure, but don't say anything. And I had no script, I had some scenes, and I just knew that this person was going to be masked. They did tell me that, because there were some people who wouldn't want to do that. And that she was the leader of a group of people in hiding, and that she was very zen, and that was it. And I went into the audition, and you often have auditions where you don't really have the information, and you just have to fill in all the blanks, so I did that like I always do. And I'm so glad that I didn't know anything about it, because I would have been so intimidated and so nervous had I known that I was auditioning to play what would be this incredible character. But I just went in, and it was just me and the casting director, and he was putting me on tape, and he said, they're mostly seeing British women in their 50s and 60s for this role. Don't know how I got in there. So do a take with a British dialect. And so I did, and then ultimately, as I started talking to John, we decided he decided, and I was like, yeah, that's a good idea, to keep it, because it set her apart from everybody else. But as the bits and pieces came together, I was excited to know that it was something to do with Star Wars, but remember also at the time, Disney Plus didn't, this was a new thing. The fact that this was a live action Star Wars TV show, this was a new thing. No one had done that. So I had no expectations. I was like, it seems like a great group of people, because it is, and I'm just gonna have fun doing the work, and I did. And then for it to be so loved is just like the best icing on the best cake ever. But it's even if it weren't for that, the people that I get to work with are just phenomenal, and so it's such a joy.
Absolutely. And to boomerang back to Katee, when did you get the overture of, hey, how do you feel about dyeing your hair red? And actually actually wearing the bow costume.
Yeah. Actually, it would have been easier to dye my hair red, and I would have, but I was under contract on Another Life, and so Star Wars couldn't dye my hair. So for that second season, they couldn't change my physical appearance at all, and so the wig came into play. And then the second season, the wig was there because, again, I was still technically under contract for Another Life until they decided if they were going to do a season 3 or not. And at that point, the wig had been made for season 3, so we just went for it. But I was born a redhead, so I wish that it had stayed. Actually, it would have given me a little like pizzazz. Instead of just having like dishwater blonde hair.
You got pizzazz.
I appreciate it.
And I think we've had several people make the translation for their animated roles to live action, but I believe you were the first to come out of that group.
Yeah, I think I thought so. I think that there's like, it's a very small amount of people that have had that opportunity. And it's such a wonderful opportunity. And I say this all the time now, it's, Bo-Katan is in line with a lot of the characters that I've played over the years. So it's not like I was off doing romantic, period comedies or something, and they were like, I don't know if she can do it. Like, this is very much the characters that I've sort of like become known as. So I think that they had to stretch their imaginations a little bit less, and I think that's why I did get the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, and on behalf of myself and our audience, I thank you all. I thank you for your talents, I thank you for your professionalism, and I thank you for the performances you brought to these roles. Because you, Star Wars was a precarious place, and The Mandalorian really gave it the shot in the arm that a lot of us needed, and it showed us the way in more ways than one. And thank you for being a part of this absolutely wonderful sub-franchise of Star Wars. And you all had the opportunity to work with Carl Weathers, and he directed all of you on season 3, episode 4, The Foundling. What was your experience like with Carl?
There are people in life that, like at work, and I say that the fact that I will never have the opportunity to disagree with Carl Weathers again really upsets me, because we disagreed a lot. We made an art form of it. But we always laughed about it afterwards. We'd get frustrated with each other, and we'd still do what we were supposed to do, and we always hugged at the end of the day. Like, we always, and I loved him for that. I loved that we could completely disagree and come back to a place of respect and love. And he's just incredibly missed.
I remember I worked with him only briefly season 1, and I was so intimidated by him, even though he's one of those people who, I think probably because he knows what he looks like physically, he's a big, strong man. He was so robust all the way up until the end. And so he comes into a room very welcoming to people, and if any of you had the chance to meet him, I'm sure you saw that. But I was intimidated. And he would tell great stories, and I thought he was a great storyteller, but I didn't really feel like a connection with him. And then season 3, it started when we started doing conventions together. And then I noticed that, like, anytime he'd be sitting at a table in the green room, like, by himself, as soon as somebody would come sit with him, he would just open up, and he wanted to talk, he wanted to learn, he was so interested in people. And I remember my first Star Wars celebration in Anaheim 2 years ago. I sat down at a table with him in the green room, and he started talking about theater that he had gone to see in Los Angeles. And he mentioned this play that he was really excited to go to, that Joe Morton was doing, a production of King Lear. And I said, Carl, I'm in that play. And he looked at me like, nah. What? I was, yeah, I do theater. I did a lot of Shakespeare, earlier in my career. And this just like opened up a whole new level to our relationship, and I realized, it was just because I wasn't, I was letting myself be intimidated, and I wasn't just asking him and sharing with him about life. And he was such a student, always, and even when he would get frustrated when he was directing, and I mean, The Mandalorian is such a highly technical show, and there's so many moving parts. He was always willing to ask for help. He was always curious about how everyone did their jobs, and he just had such passion for it. And he was such, I am so grateful that I got the chance to know him at conventions, because then when I was back with him on set, it just meant that we had a different kind of relationship, and I just valued his friendship so much, and what I could learn from him. He had so many experiences, and he loved learning, and he loved sharing, and was just such a student of people and of life, and had that hunger and that thirst. And it was a real example to see that.
I think he's amazing, and the first day I was on set, I saw his name next to my dressing room. I freaked out a little bit. Because I'm at the, when I saw him first was in Rocky, and I mean, there's an unreal aspect to stuff that it makes an impression when you're a child. I sat across from, Klinger and Halatulahan from MASH, and I was never more awestruck, just like, wow. Carl was like that. He was, and for me, he was an athlete that transitioned into film as a performer, as a creator, as an artist. And there's a lot of limits, and then being black, being one of the first guys in the room in the action business, is like, it's incredible, like what he did. The hidden battles that guy went through to get where he is, pretty phenomenal. It's striking when you start to think about it. And the space that he held for that, for other people to come up and to be held in a way where they were respected and pushed forward. And my relationship with him was this evolving thing that happened. Me first being awestruck in the first season of Mando, and walking out to the gunfight scene where Grief Karga is trying to steal little Grogu. Yeah, I just want to say Baby Yoda. Not Baby Yoda. I know. Okay.
It's always going to be Baby Yoda.
When we first knew him.
I believe that's still Baby Yoda on the Funko Pops. So
Right.
That's what it says?
I believe so.
Wow.
I believe it still says that.
Yep.
Maybe it's a parenthesis. Baby Yoda, parenthesis Grogu or something.
Also known as Grogu.
To see a guy that was his age and his arc and what his accolades were in life, and to continue, like Emily had said, to become a student, and his curiosity. I think this might be the most important thing in his life, is to curate curiosity instead of knowledge. Like, knowledge doesn't get me down the road very far, but curiosity will. Knowledge can keep me stuck. And he was a guy like that instead of having these hard, fast answers for this is how it is, he was curious about the questions. And to watch how he moved, he stood up straight. He was an example. And I'm really glad you asked the question, because I like to say his name. I like him to be honored. I know that people like this, man, people that you love and that mark other people and that love them and that push that forward, I believe there's immortality to us, and I don't think that Carl's that far away ever. And I'm really grateful for the time to get to know a guy like that.
I got a chance to finally meet him a couple months ago, and I talked to him about some of his obscure works, and then I was supposed to host him next week in Richmond, and I'm so disappointed because he's like, oh, you want to know about the Bermuda Depths? I got crazy stories about fur lives to tell you, and I will never know them now. And so be missed. Let's switch it up. For each of you, what was the craziest day you had on the Mandalorian set? So I know there had to be a couple.
I mean, for me, it was the last day that I was there. And it was because we were running downhill. That whole week was amazing, I think. I mean, it was, what a time to be alive, right? A lot of people in my business, they say, make a good living dying. It's the best death I've ever had.
An awesome death.
Yeah, that's what Filoni says. He walks by, just kind of, we don't talk really, he's just walking his dog. He kind of bumps into me and goes, who really dies in Star Wars? Tell me more.
And there's always flashbacks.
Yeah.
Somehow they survive.
Yes.
Somehow.
That's right.
They have cloning technology. I'm just saying.
I mean, there's so many crazy things. I think the one that comes to mind, because it was just so much fun, was when we were shooting the first episode of season 3. And you may remember from watching it that we were in this beautiful lakeside property that looked like Lake Tahoe or something. And people kept asking me, where did you guys shoot that? Y'all, it was a back lot where they had chipped in a bunch of sand and created a fake pond with a pump so that the water would recirculate and wouldn't get completely disgusting. And there were blue walls all around, and the elevated train, the metro, I remember, was like skirting the property, so they had tried to put up these things so that people on the train wouldn't see what was going on.
Like shipping containers that went up like 5 high and circled us so they couldn't get pictures in.
Yeah, and it was dirty and it was kind of gross. And we were out in the sun, in our Mandalorian armor.
Oh my God.
But there were a couple of days where when the Mandalorians are fighting the big like dragon, turtle, gator, whatever it was, probably something from Florida. When there were people like flying from cranes and we were running into the water, and I didn't do like flips or any of that really impressive stunt work, but I got to like run and like slide a little bit and try to save your little kid, which we didn't know was your little kid at the moment. That kid, every episode he was in, there was trouble. We had that creature from the lake, we had that flying thing that kidnapped him, you died. I mean,
He was just that age.
yeah, precocious. But that was just so much fun because it really felt like, a lot of the time, I think doing a show like that, you feel like you're playing, every day going to work, everyone's kind of like, we're playing Star Wars. Sometimes it's very technical, exhausting playing, and then sometimes it's exhausting because you just get to play and run, and it was so satisfying even though it was hot and gross and wet. And it was awesome.
And disgusting.
I think mine was like during that same time, and they had me running back and forth to 2 separate sets. So I would
I remember that.
do a take, jump in a van, drive to the other place, do a take, jump in the van, come back, because because my walk is so specific, and it was these big crane shots.
Oh, we know.
Let it go.
I never realized it. And my husband was like, I think you just have loose hips. And it's actually true. Like, I have hip dysplasia. And I've had it since I was a kid. So I think my hips just move a lot more than they're supposed to. And then you put a gun on my hip and it just does something in my butt. Like, if you put 2 guns on it, it moves even more.
This is the best disorder I've ever been.
I'm glad you're saying this, Tait, so I can't.
Because in my mind, I'm so rigid as Bo. And I was trying to explain it to Joanna, my stunt double, our stunt double. And I was explaining to Joe, like, shoulders back, arms down, like, really rigid. And then I watched her, and I was like, what the F is that? That's not my walk. And she and I had to look on it forever. And finally, I said, how did you find it? Like, she finally got a piece of it. And I said, what did you do? And she said, stop listening to you. Because in your mind, it looks one way, but it actually looks, she's like, your hips move so much. And I was like, Oh wait, sorry, one funny story. So, I had an ex that shall remain nameless, but his father was in hospice. But one of the times that I went in to say hello when we were visiting, he came in and, he said that he was a big fan of Longmire. He was an old man, he's like, 90s. Yeah. And he said that there was something about the way a gun swishes on my hips. And, I remember her. I was like, oh, I'm so glad that I gave a 90-year-old man some joy.
Amen.
What's been the best thing to come out of this gig for you?
For me, I would say the relationships of it. It's like what we've been talking about. It was a real familial endeavor that happened. I mean, one of the coolest things that doesn't happen a lot is that every morning you'd get to sit and chop it up with the creators, writers of this show, and they would direct where they think this is going to go, and how they wanted this episode to look. Every morning, it was incredible, and that was really special about it. To work with these two, to have, I mean, like when I said that earlier, watching Emily walk in the first time we see her around the forge, it's like it took my breath away, and the strength and the beauty and the just this confident surety, like a surety, like certainness that was accompanying that. And to see, like, when you talk about how you stand, there's a picture somebody drew, and I was like, God damn, what a stance! It's like, it is the most beautiful example of strength and femininity that is out there. And then you bring up Joanna and Natalie and Padilla, that was a stunt coordinator on this also, and a double, and just phenomenal. I mean, it does. It's I guess yesterday was International Women's Day, and the collaborations that are coming together now that maybe haven't ever been before, of this kind of strength. I mean, before it was, like Lucy Lawless was maybe the strong character that somebody had to look towards, and it's, my character is dope and badass, but he's not like this, right? It's like my third favorite Star Wars character, and it's just an honor to be a part of that. I mean, I think that this whole Mandalorian, like you talked about, there was a lag a little bit in Star Wars, and it's been a reclamation and a redemption story in so many ways, interpersonally with people that we know on set and what they've been going through, and then as a whole, I mean, it's been phenomenal what's happened lately since since Disney launched, I guess. I didn't remember that either. This was the launch of Disney, which was crazy. Anyways.
Thank you both.
Yeah, what Tait said. I mean, it's so hard. There's not one thing to pinpoint, because it is such a beautiful amalgamation of so many wonderful, like, pinch me kind of things. But I do think one of the things that is most satisfying to me is that, because anything can get hype, anything can be like the thing of the day or the week or the year, but getting to be a part of something like that has come from the kind of relationships that we have on set, the kind of collaborative, creative environment. I mean, the fact that John and Dave do trust us so much with these characters and want to know our input, it's really special. That doesn't always happen. And and then everything the impact that it has on people. I've never been a part of something with this formidable an impact that spans decades and generations. And to get to play a character within that who I admire, who I look up to, who I hope that I can strive to be like, it's a once in a lifetime thing, but it also just keeps evolving, what it is. Like the work, I think about the way I approach the work season 1 versus season 3, and like what I've learned from that, and then how I approach conventions now, the way as opposed to the way I used to, just from I feel like it's constantly growing and evolving, and that's really special too. It doesn't feel like, oh, we have this one moment where everything was amazing and then it dies off. It's just, it's incredible. Sour punch? Is that like sour punch, but
Yeah.
it's gonna smack you in the face?
That's my sister Elise because they're soft. I throw them out the audience. I used to
Oh,
touch
yeah.
the Fritzies and they're like, ow!
Don't injure the audience.
No, I know. That's not my job. Alright. Katee, what you got?
I mean, these two have said it so beautifully. You mentioned Lucy Lawless, and I've always said this, that when I was growing up, I always, as a girl, felt like I didn't see myself on camera, and I'm not to say like the way that I look, but who I was. I was a girl, and I felt very girly, but I was very physically capable, and I was always with the boys, and I always got dirty, and I was always fighting my brother, not like random people. I was like that kid, and so I really resonated or responded to characters like Linda Hamilton, Sigourney Weaver, and Lucy Lawless, Carrie Fisher, characters, these women that were like feminine but strong and vulnerable, and to be able to continue to play characters like that, being a mom now, is so important. I'm constantly looking. My daughter, she will put me in the poorhouse with Tool. She just wants Tool. And for those of you who don't know Tool, I don't mean like a tool, I mean like Princess Tool. Like, she is like Barbie and fairies and like everything. She's vomiting on her every day. She just wants to wear dresses and tutus and this and that. And she hates mom, so she's like, not my kid. It's so weird. So I'm constantly looking for princesses that are strong. Constantly, which is how I found that book that we read yesterday, which is, Ninja Red Riding Hood. Constantly looking for these feminine, girly, badass characters that also kick butt. And they exist, but they exist more now than they did when I was a kid. And I love that for her. I love that my daughter can read The Princess in Black and be like, all right, cool. I can like wear tutus and still beat the shit out of someone. I'm sorry for children my hair. You know what I mean? Like that.
Mind trick. You heard nothing.
That matters. It matters to because I want to be feminine. I am feminine. But I also can take care of myself, and I want that to be applauded and like pushed, and so I think that's cool. And Bo is just another one of those people, hips and all.
I feel like that's a t-shirt, just Bo, and then just hips and all.
Friends, thank you for indulging my capricious curiosity. I'm going to go out in our audience and do I want to do? I'll tell you what, let's do a line. Why don't we do one? Let's go down
That
this
man
one.
back there has an axe. I wouldn't cross him.
Absolutely. Why don't you come on up first? Because this is a really big one. And,
Love the cosplay today, by the way.
absolutely.
Yes.
Mandos and other Star Wars characters.
Hi, what's your name?
Nicole.
Nicole, what do you have for us?
How would your characters, what did they think that's missing from Grogu's training so far? Like, what would your characters think?
Grogu needs to learn how to make some armor and pull his own weight. All alone, making a lot of armor.
I wish you would cook anything.
I don't know. I feel like he saved my life a couple times. So.
Fair, thank you. Hey, what's your name?
I'm Richard, and I'm just curious, did you guys get to keep your armor from sets? No. Because that would be so cool.
Wouldn't it?
Send an email.
Oh,
Make that suggestion.
Yeah.
Have you found yourself in possession of anything from the Mandalorian set?
No, I'm scared of Lucasfilm.
I took some of the Earth of Mandalore. There's a bucket of glass, and then I got a couple because I got Lego pieces, and then I want to build. I was ambitious when I stole. I don't have the scene yet, but that's what my mind is.
You don't want to steal anything until you know it's done. On my last day of I forget the name.
Battlestar?
Battlestar Galactica.
Hello.
On my last day of Battlestar Galactica, they only told us we could take one thing. They auctioned off everything. It was repulsive. They were literally coming up to us and numbering our tank tops as we were in them to sell it when we were done. It was crazy. And we only got to keep one thing. So I requested my helmet, and I was like, but I will take my flight suit. And so on the last day of filming, I shoved it in a cooler.
So say we all.
I have a crusty, rusty, charred spear tip that was my Beskar spear that got melted down to make Grogu's beautiful chainmail. And my husband every once in a while will come across it and he's like, "Why are we keeping this?" It looks horrible. It's so like not magnificent at all, but it's it's special. And now I have gotten to know Diana Inosanto, who plays Morgan, who had that spear in season 2. Is that right?
Yeah.
And she has been. We have so many wonderful, wonderful martial artists on our show who are very generous with their time and who help us learn. And so I've been training with her, and it's sort of satisfying to know that she had the spear and I took the spear.
Nice.
What do you want? Alright, what do we have? She can have 2 then. What's your name, boss?
Dan.
What you got?
Sorry. We all know that Star Wars is basically inherently about family, correct? And I wanted to ask you guys.
I thought it was about the pew pew pew.
That too, but it's inherently about family. Your mother's here. Do you guys get to share your experiences with your family? And do they are allowed on set and go and
You're good. You're good.
get those experiences such stuff?
Yeah, I took my mom to the premieres with me, and all that, like wherever we can get incorporated. Brendan was like, who played Mando in a lot of the all the scenes I was in with him, and he brought that camaraderie to the set in a huge way. When all the littles were out there in the sand scene with the training and everything, the big family picnic kind of day at the beach, he brought a piñata. He brought us a spoon of sticks. So all these little kids, these little 8, 10, 12-year-olds could go and have a piñata fest for lunch. And it's just, there's a ton of little special moments like that. It was real familiar. Yeah.
My dad really embraced the some of the swag that first came out. He was a huge fan. I mean, my parents are both fans of anything I do. They're very, very supportive. But my dad, even when he passed almost 3 years ago now, and when he was going through a lot of chemo and going to the hospital a lot, he would wear his Armorer t-shirt. And if there was somebody who didn't know what the Mandalorian was, he was offended. Because he wanted to say, "Hey, you watch this show? This is my daughter." And some people would be like, "No, I've never seen it." And he was just appalled. So that was very sweet.
And have you enjoyed telling people about your daughter?
Oh, she's fantastic, can't you tell?
Can't tell who I get it from.
What do you? Hey, what's your name?
Austin.
What you got?
So, how does it feel to know that your characters have played such an impact on the franchise as a whole? I mean, even with Paz's death, that's kind of how every guy wants to grow up. They picture themselves growing up like that. So, I mean, how does it feel being, fans of the franchise and then your specific characters having such an impact on the franchise itself?
It's incredible.
I hope so. We'll see.
Right, good armor, by the way.
I like the fur on your armor.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, what's your name?
Keith,
What you got?
do you guys have any input on your kid? before it's put together, colors, design, anything like that?
No, but when I first was getting outfitted for it, like I said, I didn't know anything about the show. It was called Bounty Hunter or something at first. All the gear that was like Under Armour and stuff that was in bags that nobody knew what it was really. And they bring in that helmet with they're measuring all part like to make sure everything fits to my body. And I go, holy shit, am I Boba Fett right now? no idea, but no, zero input. Nobody cares what I think about it.
We do.
Sorry for my coffee, but my suit. God, I hate my suit. You guys, it's one piece. So once you're in, you can't pee. And it's so hot, you have to drink water at work on the show. You have to. So I've got it down to where I can literally get it off with Val. It takes 2 minutes to get it off and 5 to get it back on, and I can run to the bathroom. So I need like 10 minutes. But season 3, they were like, we're gonna do you a favor. We put a zipper in your suit. Awesome. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I have a zipper and a shiwi. Y'all.
Now I gotta Google.
It is a funnel. But this funnel is tiny, except for a baby bladder. And it's soft. And the whole of my suit is like tight. So I'm trying to pee.
Controlling your flow.
And I've been holding it for so long. And it's coming out so fast. And it's filling up the cup so fast. So I'm trying to hold it. Hold it. It got everywhere. I mean, not everywhere. But like, I went back and I was like, we need to change my suit. I will never use that zipper ever again. So every other woman on the show has 2 pieces. 2 pieces, except for Bo. So yeah, I am going to make them cut it in half, like everyone else, so I can go to the bathroom. I'm a normal person. I'm
Stargazer. I'm here today with Rebel Legion.
Yeah.
And I just got a really quick, simple question for you guys to save your voice. I want to know who your favorite Star Wars villain is.
Oh.
Darth Maul.
I gotta get one of the. We have another Darth Maul here. Here.
I met this. Sorry, this is not answering your question, but I met this this like 13-year-old cosplaying as Darth Maul once, and it was great because he looked like your makeup, your horns, everything is fantastic. And I complimented him on his look, and then he grinned, and he had this face full of braces. It was so unexpected. I'm a fan of Darth Maul. I feel like that could be a very loaded answer.
I feel like he's the coolest as far as looks go, but I never knew that there were fans of the Empire at all. Like my whole life, I was shocked.
Really?
I was shocked. Yeah, I had no idea until 5 years ago that people were fans of the Empire. Oh wait, are we on the side of the road? Apparently not.
My daughter just thinks that Darth Maul needs a hug.
Princess.
Who's your favorite Star Wars villain?
I'm going to say my master, Darth Vader.
I'm gonna say hands down favorite character though is Chewbacca. He's the best character.
Would you consider Kylo Ren a villain?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love Adam Driver so much. I think he's such a phenomenal actor, and he brought so much torment and pathos to Kylo Ren. I also had a run-in with Kylo Ren at Disneyland when I went, because my friend who works there told some of the character actors who I was, and so he sought me out, and we had some words. It was very satisfying.
I want to say the coolest thing though about the villains in the Star Wars universe, like I just think of the 501st in particular, and nobody does more good. And I'm in awe. Like when this whole, like, what's the coolest thing about the show is that it opened up to you guys, and this has been phenomenal for me to see all the. There's just nothing but positivity and people helping people at every convention that I go to, and to see the outreach that the 501st does in hospitals around the world has been phenomenal.
Panel, before we go, anything, upcoming projects or anything on the docket that you're allowed to share with us you'd like us to know?
I get to do something completely different, because I'm doing a little part in an indie film where I'm a ridiculous human being and very silly, and I'm having to learn how to shuffle for the kids out there who know what that is. For people more my age, the Running Man is involved. A variation of the Running Man, although I'm told if I do it the way we learned to do the Running Man, I'm doing it wrong. It's a little different. But I'm very excited about that, because I am indeed a ridiculous human being. And so it'll be fun to do something that's very silly. But other than that, I don't know.
I'm really excited to see us in a little part in this show called Love Lies Bleeding that Katee O'Brien is a star of, and I'm super stoked to see that. So that'll be out shortly. And then a buddy of mine, Keith Jardine, and I have produced, directed, and he wrote this little feature called Killer Cafe, which I play a KGB Russian line cook.
Yes,
My podcast, really excited about that.
I got to be on that podcast.
We're on a break until the beginning of April, but some really awesome guests coming, and I'm just excited by that, because I love talking to the people and learning about people and learning sort of, what builds resiliency, like what keeps people going, I love that. It's really cool.
CollectiveCon 2024, this was a cast of the Mandalorian.